Storm system Helene continues to increase. Plus, two candidates who could be first in line to the presidency take center stage tonight.
And we're seeing a mixture of sun and clouds out there at this hour, but we're keeping an eye on a cold front. Details in a few minutes.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The death toll from storm system Helene continues to go up. It has now reached at least 159 people. That's up from even our 4 o'clock newscast. In North Carolina, the state's Air National Guard brought 100,000 pounds of FEMA emergency supplies to Asheville. Crews continue to search for flood survivors. President Biden has said he plans to visit North Carolina tomorrow to survey the damage Helene caused. The president made it clear that his visit to North Carolina is being planned with limited impact on resources needed for rescue and recovery. It is a point that's being echoed by Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
Our goal is to make sure that funding is no obstacle to very quickly getting people the relief that they need and deserve. There's also some safety issues that come up. For example, temporary flight restrictions to make sure that the airspace is clear for any flights or drone activity that might be involved in helping to allow those emergency responders to do their job.
The mayor of Chimney Rock, North Carolina, says floodwaters from Helene destroyed every building and home in that area. As communities hit hard by Helene look to recover, people here in Kentucky are stepping up to help big time. In Clark County, a donation effort is underway. The Winchester Fire Department is collecting non-perishable items to send to people in North Carolina struggling in the wake of the storm. The department says they wanted to be able to give back to those struggling.
That's why we get into this line of work, is to help others, whether it be in our immediate community or a community outside of here. The need is no different no matter where we are, so we just want to help. That's it.
The Winchester Fire Department is collecting the donations at any of their 3 fire stations through October 7th during business hours. They will pack up to head to North Carolina the day after. Coming up in our next half hour, we will take a look at several Eastern Kentucky groups that are also contributing to flood relief efforts. An attorney says Sean Diddy Combs may soon face new claims from more than 100 men and women who plan to file civil suits against him. Houston-based attorney Tony Busby says his firm and the Ava Law Group have been retained by at least 120 people. He says they contacted them after claiming to be victimized by Combs and other individuals or entities. Busby says some of the cases they intend to file will center on claims including violent sexual assault or rape. Iran has launched a missile attack against Israel. A U.S. defense official says the United States intercepted some of the missiles to help defend Israel. In Tel Aviv, the missiles seem to come in waves, with each one starting with sirens blaring out and then loud booms. Now, as far as I know, no deaths have been reported, so it seems like this effort by Iran has largely failed. After approximately 45 minutes, the Israel Defense Forces said it was safe for people throughout the country to leave shelters. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed that Iran will pay. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell reacted to Iran's attack against Israel, saying, quote, "Israel has a right to defend itself against terrorists bent on destroying it. The United States must stand with our friend under fire." The senator went on to say, referring to Iran, quote, "It is time for the world's leading architects of terror and their proxies to face severe consequences."
We're seeing plenty of sunshine out there at this hour. Some places, though, seeing a little bit of cloud cover on top of the sunshine. Take a look here at the latest outside. We're seeing a temperature of 72 in Hazard, 73 in Jackson. Over towards Manchester, 74, 75 in London. Go over towards Pikeville. Good evening to you. You're at 68 degrees. 75 is the current temperature in Jacksboro. So here's the latest now with live pinpoint Doppler radar. and you're noticing a little bit of a splash and dash shower across portions of the area, especially across extreme southeastern Knox County, pushing its way into portions of Bell County. But that's it in terms of any type of rainfall. We are seeing some ground clutter being picked up at this time. So the next 12 hours keeps temperatures in the low 70s by the 8 o'clock hour, upper 60s by 10 p.m., and then mid 60s with patchy fog as we go throughout the overnight hours. When you wake up in the morning, we'll see cloudy skies. Temperatures will be in the upper 50s and low 60s. And you can see the cold front that we're going to talk about on this map. That area is shaded in blue. We'll talk more about that coming up in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. Former President Donald Trump wants a brief that special counsel Jack Smith filed redacted further. The document in question presents a comprehensive view of Smith's case against Trump for trying to overturn the 2020 election. It is currently under seal, but it is likely to be released to the public. That could happen before the election. Trump says Smith is trying to make that happen so he can influence voters. A running mate debate tonight as the vice presidential candidates meet for their first and only scheduled face-off. CBS's Caroline Cummings reports from the CBS Broadcast Center in New York, home to tonight's big event.
The stage is set for the only vice presidential matchup and likely the last debate before the election. Minnesota Governor Democrat Tim Walz and Ohio Republican Senator J.D. Vance will each tour the physical space before squaring off this evening, which will be a chance for voters to learn more about these relatively lesser-known VP picks.
I'd like to know more about what their policies are, since I don't really know much about them.
I don't make anything of either one of them yet. Tonight, we'll see what I make of them.
CBS Evening News anchor Nora O'Donnell and Face the Nation host Margaret Brennan will moderate, but they won't interrupt the debate to fact check. Instead, viewers can use this QR code that will appear on screen.
When viewers scan the QR code, it's going to take them to our website, and there's a live blog and also a live fact check being done by our CBS News Confirm team. These are expert journalists who have been fact-checking throughout the election cycle. They'll be doing it again tonight.
Both camps agreed to leave the candidates' microphones open throughout. There is a mute button if things get unruly. Post-debate, the attention turns to reaction here in the spin room. And on Walz's side, CBS News has learned we expect to hear from Senators Amy Klobuchar, Mark Kelly, Ben Ray Lujan, and the governors of Colorado and Illinois. For all its fireworks, the presidential debate last month didn't shift polls all that much. But analysts say in a really close race,
you have maybe 5 or 6% of the electorate still on the fence, still undecided, and little things could push them in one direction or another.
Both camps are right back on the road tomorrow, stumping in battleground states where this race to the finish will ultimately play out. Caroline Cummings, CBS News, New York.
And you can, of course, watch the vice presidential debate tonight at 9 p.m. right here on WYMT. CBS News coverage begins at 8. With just 5 weeks until Election Day, voting is already underway throughout the United States, but pre-election voting this year will drop from the pandemic-era highs of 2020. That's according to a CNN review of data from election officials and analytics firms Catalyst and Edison Research. As of today, more than 500,000 votes have already been cast in 27 states. That's a tiny fraction of the roughly 158 million pre-election votes cast for president in the 2020 election. Thousands of voters in Arizona were affected following a glitch. Yesterday, the Arizona Secretary of State's office announced a clerical error impacting 218,000 voters. That includes 97,000 voters who were mistakenly marked earlier this month as having provided documentation proving their citizenship. But that documentation is not required to cast ballots for federal office in the state. An actor best known for his roles in Roots and the sitcom Good Times has died. John Amos died August 21st in Los Angeles, but his death was not known until today. His son confirmed his father died of natural causes. He said his father loved working as an actor throughout his life. Amos starred as the older version of Kunta Kinte in the acclaimed miniseries Roots and as James Evans Sr. in Good Times. John Amos was 84 years old. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, most of us have seen an uptick